Run for Your Life, usually seen at this time, will not be presented tonight, so that we may bring you the following special program.
Please support the Word Balloon podcast by going to patreon.com/wordballoon. Become a part of the League of Word Balloon listeners. That's patreon.com/wordballoon. Welcome back, everybody. It's time again for another Word Balloon Live, the comic book conversation show. John Suntress here, two of my favorites joining us tonight for their collaboration on a fantastic image series, Adventureman. Happy to welcome back Terry Dodson and Matt Fraction. Good to see you, boys.
Hey.
Thanks, John. Good seeing you again.
As always, boys. Well, I'm excited. The story continues. We've got Adventureman Family Tree coming up, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Bing. There we go. And as I was telling you guys off the air, great story, boys. Give people the elevator pitch on and it's because it is complicated. I understand. Sorry.
Once upon a time there was a pulp hero named Adventureman, and there are hundreds of novels written about his adventures, and it turns out they were all real. They all really happened. And in the modern era, a single mom and her kid realized that these stories were all true, and once they realize that, they start to have memories from all of the characters in the books, and things that they thought were fiction start to become real. And this kid's mom and her sisters all sort of become the modern avatars of these characters of adventure, and this kind of old, forgotten world of high pulp adventure sort of starts to burst its way through the staid and boring real world, and things start to get a lot more fantastic, and a lot more dangerous, and a lot more adventurous, and then we are off to the races on our fourth kind of storyline, which sort of takes a moment to spend time with Claire's sisters. We get sort of backstory of some of the classic Adventureman characters and see how it influences the avatars of the modern characters in the present day, as all of these memories that aren't their own start to return to them. But with those memories come things like villains and axe gangs and stuff.
Understood. Hey, Morgan already, Mason is saying, bought all 3 volumes of Adventureman from Terry at San Diego Comic-Con last year. Love the oversized format. Yeah, that's great, guys. And really, Terry, it's so great to see how big, and Maddie's holding it up for our audio audience.
Yeah.
Holding up one of the volumes. But
you want one of these puny regular comics, or do you want
adventure-sized?
Adventure-sized.
Yeah, Terry, I mean, this affords you the chance to really, obviously, get it closer to what it was maybe on your draft board as you were putting it out. I mean, how much of a reduction is it from your originals to this oversized format?
Well, what I do is I actually draw these pages larger and wider specifically for this format. This format is both taller, obviously, but it's significantly wider than a comic book format. So, like when we put the comic out, there's actually about an inch of artwork that doesn't show up that I've drawn. And you can only see that artwork in the oversized versions. That's kind of like it's a European format that's very standard. That's the standard size and what they do in Europe. And I don't know, it just gives it you're just able to see more artwork, and the time and effort we put into it, it's really nice to put it into a nicer book to appreciate it with. So it makes it just a different experience, and it's very kind of widescreen, especially for this action format. That the action's part of the story, I think, and the world to be able to kind of show so much stuff. But yeah, I actually just draw. I draw it bigger and wider. I draw it for this format, just specifically. So, and I'm glad I figured out through doing it that how to make it look still good in the U.S. comic size. But it definitely breathes more in the larger format.
That's great. And I know you've played with this format before with Red One. Am I right? Isn't that what it's
Correct.
called?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly.
So very cool. Oh, this is interesting from Stanley. Do you prefer, Terry, to draw covers or interiors?
I think I preferred, assuming if it's mine, if it's my story, our story, I definitely prefer the interiors. They're different things. I'd say if at the end of the day, if I had to do one or the other, I'd do interiors because I'm telling a story. I mean, I'm building a world. I'm telling a story. Where cover is just a simple, it's an illustration, which I love doing as well. But if I had to do one or the other, I'd always go with telling the story, just because there's so much more room to grow and do stuff with. But yeah, I love doing both of them. So
okay, guys, I'm also before we get back to Adventureman, I'm getting questions from the audience. Ken Kramer wants to know if you guys could work on a crossover book to feature one DC and Marvel character respectively, who would it be? They're both straining their necks thinking about what they would say. I love it.
Oh, man. I mean, I could do a lot.
We can come back to it if it's too hard of an essay question initially, guys.
I guess that's pretty broad. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, they're thinking, boys and girls. It's all right.
This is great. This is great. Everyone, just watch us think for seven or eight more minutes. This is done.
We're all leaning in, waiting for the answer. Exactly.
I'll throw out a big Barda and Spider-Man. I mean, just I don't know. That'd be cool.
That's an interesting team up.
Exactly. It's like I'm trying to who wouldn't team up and who would I like to draw? That those two would work.
Yeah,
wow.
I had a Spider-Man and Bizarro.
That would be funny too.
Yes.
Spider-Man having to help Bizarro is all right. I could write that.
I can see that. Fantastic from both of you. I like both stories. That's great. So Matt, on this Adventureman thing, and Terry too, but it's so funny. A couple weeks ago, I just talked to. I'm sorry, really fast because Gail Simone is watching. She says, "Damn it! Now I want to read your Big Barter Spider-Man story." There you go.
There we go.
See,
one sold. We're off.
They're paying attention.
And Gail's got that X-Men money now, so she'll probably get all the covers.
This is true. Do I have? All right. So here's a great shot of both our current cast, the Connells family, and the adventure team, in which again they are the avatars of these past lives. There's certainly a Doc Savage feel to this group because he had his 5. Okay, Matt. It's like,
sure. Yeah. No, guilty. Yeah.
All right. Well, and again, there's nothing to be guilty about. So, but no, that's cool. Henry Barajas says you guys are on fire with this. I completely agree. So, Matt, in a way, this is kind of a meta story because really, you could even argue, as far as pulp stories and comic book stories, that these are all echoes of the golden age of when comics started and everything, and the modern product today is still kind of a meta continuation, obviously, of these original ideas. Would you say?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was part of the appeal was, I had done a lot of stuff like for grown-ups, and that's fine and that's good, but I hadn't done anything that was like fun in the way comics can be fun, and it felt like a very kind of adventure and kind of adventure's the wrong word or the right word. I promise I wasn't trying to be clever, but like a chance to explore the kind of roots of comics and what is it about like superhero comics that I like so much and why, and it kind of leads you all back to that stuff, and it's all there. It's all the kind of material, the genetic stuff is all in those pulps. So it was a chance to do it hopefully not as problematic seriously as they were, and to also then, because it just like why would you want to alienate any audience from that? Like, it's like, no, the stuff that's cool is cool. It doesn't matter. Like, it's just awesome. Just do the cool stuff, and don't be all weird about it. So it was a chance to do that, and if it's. I mean, I think all ages is such a kind of debased kind of term. It speaks to it's sort of, it's a lower, and I don't mean like, but that sort of like spirit of a Pixar movie, or like the first Raiders, where everyone's, people enjoy it on kind of all, regardless of your age, you'll enjoy it on a different level every time, you watch it. And, that's sort of a chance to, and like, it's a chance to just follow wherever the hummingbirds in my head go. Like, oh, today it's Mexican wrestlers, tomorrow it's airplanes, and then it's, then now it's vampires and Ghost Gang, whatever. It just kind of, it's just a chance. And I don't mean to, hopefully it doesn't feel like homework, and it's not like a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen thing where I'm not making any references, and I know very little about the Pulp kind of. That's good. My resistance to the Doc Savage thing was like I've really not read a lot of it. And I didn't want to claim that, I had any kind of authority or expertise on it. In fact, my favorite Doc Savage book is a book about the Doc Savage books.
Is that Will Murray's book? Then he wrote
Philip Jose Farmer.
Oh, of course, I have that book as well. Yes, amazing book. Yes, and he did the Tarzan Alive book as well. No, great science fiction writer.
It's called His Apocalyptic Life.
Yes.
And that was the idea, was basically, what if this was real? What if this wasn't a recap of all the Doc Savage adventures? What if this was a how-to book for like how to live your life,
Yeah. Have you read that too, Terry?
Yeah, Matt sent that to me, I think, right after he mentioned the story. So yeah, I was aware of it too. Yeah.
There's no better way to explain it than like, here, read this, but what if it was a how-to guide to live your life like Adventureman? Like, that's the pitch, right? And then like, oh, okay.
Right. Yeah.
There's like a James Bond one that Kingsley Amis wrote.
I've never read that one. I'm gonna have to look that up.
It's great if you want to know how to die an alcoholic of emphysema at the age of 34. And yeah, so those kind of weird concordance books are a lot of fun.
That's great. Mason wants to know, Terry, if you've got a favorite character design of Adventureman or the Six that are assisting the Sister Squadron, if you will. I got a picture of them coming up here right now. Here's the Sister Squadron, everybody.
Rita, Rita, who is the Brazilian EMT,
Brazilian bombshell.
Sarah, who has the blades. They're all favorites. It's kind of hard to pick one out of them. And from the old team, Phaedra Phantom is obviously a fun one to draw. But a call is amazing. I mean, I put all my favorite stuff into each character, so it's kind of hard to go. I like this because the job was to make stuff I wanted to draw. So I think I lucked out, and I made like 90% of it pretty much exactly what I wanted to draw. So they're all winners, squadron.
Sure, absolutely. Michael says this is the part of the live stream where we judge what's on the guest bookshelves. Terry, are we going to need for you to shift your camera to see what's on your bookshelf?
Yeah, bookshelves. Yeah. Oh man.
Sorry, you don't have to. I mean, again, you're set. Everything. That's all right. We got Maddie's bookshelf right here, everybody.
Yeah.
So there you go. Freeze that frame and see what you see. Very nice. Attaboy, Matt.
There's more.
Actually, what we can do, I think, is we can see what's on my table if we can see it. But
I'm zooming in.
Yeah. That is the adventure table. Across the top is all the covers, the character designs, pages, script, a actual page in progress. That's where the adventure happens. So,
like it.
Yeah.
No, I'm impressed.
Out of the void. Yeah,
that's great, man.
That's where it all comes.
Family Tree starts in March.
Yeah, March 19th.
March 19th. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, final order cutoff was yesterday, right?
No, it's next Monday, the 24th.
Oh, good. Okay, great, guys. Oh, very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
No, we're good.
Yeah. And it's a great, you can come in, it's a clean starting point for new readers. You can hop in and pick up. It's, the good news about a bunch of telling a story about a bunch of characters who've discovered themselves in entirely new worlds is they're all point of view characters for readers, and you can hop on board and be right along with us as we go.
That's great. I'm
And
looking forward to the backstory too of Adventureman's original crew. Go ahead, Gary. Excuse me.
I was going to say, this was, as you posted up earlier, the shots of those characters. We finally listened to the audience and put a cast, a cast at the beginning of the a who's who. So that every issue now will have this, and will feature the main characters who are going to be in that issue. But there's that, and then Matt in our last discussion on Adventureman, he mentioned how like the previous story was kind of like The Empire Strikes Back, and this is like we're now in like this that we're not quite at Return. We're like time between Empire and Return of the Jedi right now. This is like a quiet point. We're showing you where everybody is, and how they're going to get back to where they're supposed to be. That and it's like that is so accurate. It's like exactly. It's a great quiet, relatively quiet time to come in and to catch up with what's going on. But then we're not stopping with any. It's still called Adventureman for a reason. We're still doing a lot of stuff in each issue, so it's fun.
Zach wanted to know, he loves the oversized format of the collected editions. Was that always the plan to do that? What inspired the choice?
Terry being awesome.
Right. There was always the choice. I mean, that was just I'd done it on Red One, and I'm a fan.
Yeah, I feel like you had just done it when we started to really talk about it seriously. It feels like Red One had, and you were like, you know what we should do, and it's like, yes.
Exactly. The process of getting Adventureman going took so long that I had started Red One like at the same time, and so I figured out the formats to use in order to be able to do the wide European and the smaller, narrower American comic. And so Red One was actually the trial on that, and everything I learned on that brought on to Adventureman. So yeah, this is 100% going to be this way. And we're Image is extremely happy with this book. They love this format, and we're now in December. We just finally released the normal sized Image trade paperback. So they're very happy now because we're finally following the traditional model that everybody else uses at Image, which really helps sales. But Eric loves this book, and he encourages us to keep doing this format and then doing the traditional trade. And actually, in December, next December will be our second small trade. So we'll actually have 4 hardcovers out and 2 trades out by the end of the year. So we'll actually have a nice adventure bookshelf going.
So for the regular size one, are they arc by arc, or is it, for this first regular sized trade, how much of the story does it collect?
We cheated. We took because it actually makes it a better book. We took the first chapter from the next arc and brought that back into this first collection. So it's actually the first 5 issues of Adventureman as opposed to the first 4 that are in the hardcover. Because it actually
hardcovers end with cliffhangers, which is maybe a good idea or maybe a bad one. But by design, the hardcovers end with they're supposed to be cliffhangers.
Sure.
But also, so with doing the trades, it was like, let's make it a kind of complete experience, and it doesn't have the kind of bonus material and the backup stuff that you get in the full size. It's just kind of all the meat of the arc or whatever. But but by design, the hardcovers have those cliffhanger endings. So we thought this would also be another reason that it's if somebody wants to double dip, it is a different book, not the same book, just smaller.
I'm exactly. I'm glad, Terry. I'm really glad you put so much process stuff in the oversized volumes and everything. I think that's terrific.
That's just by nature of the process of creating this book. There's so much process, and the fact that
never hard. It's never. Oh God, how are we going to fill these pages?
That's right.
Never been said once in production of this book.
That's right. Yeah. No, it's nice. It's nice to have that. And it's so cool when you're doing your own books. You create your own books. You have that option to make the book you always wanted. And
you can always love your way in the world of creator-owned original comics. You can lose all of your money.
That's right. No one will stop you from doing it.
Yeah. I hope this is a profitable experiment. I mean, again, you guys are proven commodities, And
Yeah,
yes,
and
it's
the
not
longer
DC or
the
Marvel,
longer it's
but
out, the more momentum it gets. But like
Sure.
it's a big like it's a big bear like it was a big print bill for that first book. Like, oh
Okay.
cool.
Yes.
Boy,
Yes.
we made a choice, Terry.
Yes, we did. Not only that, we actually the line art was off, and so we actually printed like the first third of that run, and so we really ate on the book. But you know what? I get paid off within 6 months. It was really quick. I was stunned how quickly that the payoff on that first book was. I was very pleased. And then we took even before that, we decided to make it really difficult for ourselves by doing a 60-page first issue at regular price. So we really put all the hurdles in front of us, and we recouped all that. So it's nice to be on this side of that stuff. So, and we learned our lessons and are hopefully figuring those things out the best way possible now.
I'm not going to rest until I've lost money all the ways it's possible to lose money in comics, and I keep inventing new ways to do it. So, the flip side too is like for all of the like, oh man, we're taking a swing. Like, it's the most beautiful book my name has been on. Like, Olea, our designer, works with Terry, and they spend so much time making it. It's such a, like, there's the end pages are gorgeous. Like, it's just like, oh my, all the feeling of that, like, kind of wonder, just like as an American comic reader that, you know, started on spinner racks, the first feeling you have seeing like a European album, you know, with like print runs of 2 million or whatever. Like, the first time you see those books, like, oh my God, they're so gorgeous. Like, this book it's such a, love it so much.
I agree, man.
No, it's really nice. It was really cool. Like, I know we're doing a good job because all the European publishers are using our format one-to-one.
Yes.
They're not changing anything. This is the first time I've had stuff translated that is exactly what, I mean, our version is the definitive version. I mean, down to like the most minute details, they are just taking it, not changing. So I feel because when you go to France and you go see your Marvel or DC versions, those are like the best versions you'll ever see of those books. So I'm very pleased to see that our version is like the definitive one.
Yeah.
Is that Panini? Is that who's doing it in France? Like, who are the international publishers?
France, it's Glénat.
Okay.
And then we're in like 7-8 languages, so it's different obviously for all those. They're all different publishers. But no, it's done well. That's nice to see too, that those are staying in print. And but you know, I really credit Leonardo Olea, our designer, for putting the extra time and effort. He is extremely meticulous. He's an amazing artist, and he colors. He's a colorist too, but he is super meticulous, super detail oriented, and he won't let a file go until it's perfect, which sometimes leads to files coming in late. But I tell you what, we don't ever have to change them again. He does amazing work. It's such a pleasure.
Like Paul Masson, we serve no wine before it's time, baby.
Yeah.
The French. Yes. I want to acknowledge a couple comic pros also watching. We mentioned Gail and Henry earlier. Dean Haspiel joining us.
Hey,
nice.
Dino.
And Joe Illidge also joining us as well.
Joe.
What's up, Joe?
No, full house. That's great, guys. As always, everybody, thanks for greatest compliment I get is when the pros are watching. So thank you very much, and the pros come on. So that's terrific. Terry, when you and Rachel work on this together, because Rachel obviously is, for people who don't know, Rachel Dodson is doing the colors, correct?
She does inks.
Oh, pardon me, she does inks. Forgive me, because I wanted. Yeah, well, I was wondering if all right. So she's doing the finishes and stuff. But yeah, I just wondered from a palette standpoint, then your color choices for this, because am I right, guys, that as the current avatars become more aware of their past lives, or however we would describe them, is the city changing as well, or the perception of the city is changing as well?
Yeah.
And actually, there's actually the first hint of that is in the very first arc in the 4th issue. So we actually start showing that it creeps in very slowly, and then by now you're seeing a full on, but fairly significant change.
And in Family Tree, it's like a traffic headache. It's like a big dig construction project that's just screwed the town up, and nobody, like, there's suddenly like Model Ts around, and things are changing and all that kind of
Zeppelins
stuff.
And yeah.
It's
right.
Yeah.
Which leads to traffic jams.
Yeah. So, like, it's just like, I mean, anybody that's been in a big city has had the experience of seeing a building that's clearly been there for 80 years that you've never noticed before, but you've walked by every day. It's like the idea of like, oh, what if they all started to come back? What if it wasn't here before? What if I just forgot it was here and now it's here again?
That's great. That kind of reminds me of the Shadow movie, where whatever mysticism is keeping the one building from being revealed, and then all of a sudden, because they're aware, suddenly this giant building that's filled with supernatural crap is happening and stuff. What were you going to say, Terry? Forgive me.
Oh, I just thought what a kick it is to color this book, and all these different times and places and things changing, which I think for most people would be a headache, but I just love it. I mean, I love having that variety and being able to just say, oh, if I just use this color, all of a sudden we don't have to draw everything in. We can just switch to this using this blue palette here, and all of a sudden we know that we're in this place and this is what's happening. And so I really enjoy it. I mean, it's such a it's a challenge, but it's so satisfying creatively to work on this book. It kind of ticks all those boxes of mine that I have for creating.
I'm going to remind everybody again that Family Tree is coming up mid-March, and final order cutoff is Monday. So get on the stick and make sure you talk to your local comic shop and get going on that. A comment from Mason. He wants to know, did the idea for Adventureman and doing a creator-owned series come from you guys working on Defenders together, or before that?
I feel like it was before that. I feel like it was on
X-Men,
and we were like, boy, it would be great if this didn't have to come out every 30 days.
Right.
We could do it like we wanted.
Right. Yep. No, it was X-Men because we did a X-Men story that was in New York.
Right.
And I talked to Matt about New York. He's like, and then he mentioned Adventureman.
Yeah.
So he'd already had the idea. So, but it was definitely on X-Men where the light bulb went off.
Yeah. And I think then I sort of changed the way I wrote for you on Defenders. Started to write more of a traditional, not quite plot style, but like what passes a plot style for me, which ends up having more words than just if I'd written a full script. But like that was where we started to experiment with that. And yeah, we were all kind of tricking other people into paying us to learn how to do the book. Because we were starting to cook on it, what our method.
Yeah, no, because the Defenders definitely looks like something that had to do with the Adventureman, but it really didn't. That was a Marvel thing that just fell into our laps. But like it worked out to be a great opportunity for Matt and I to work together just by ourselves on something, and so developing that plot art style format to work in is laid the groundwork for how we do everything on Adventureman. It just makes it easy for me to hop in, not feel like I'm fighting with the script. I'm actually working with the story as opposed to fighting against it.
That's great. I got to go reach back and read your X-Men story because I loved that Defenders run, and I was really bummed that it was only 12 issues. Was that by, because I know that was that by design, or okay, you wanted it to be an ongoing?
Yeah. No, I mean, the theory makes sense, which is like what if you took all of the characters that you wanted to write and put them on a team, and then none of these characters necessarily support a book at the moment, and it turns out that they also don't support a team book either. Which sucked, but it was a lot of fun. Like it got that turn. We got to kill Franken-Hitler. That was pretty cool. Anytime you can shoot Franken-Hitler in the head, you should. That's good comics. Terry and I got to work together, and we came up with the kind of the crazy Doctor Strange outfit that showed up in the Madness and the eyeball in the forehead shit. And it was fun, but no. I mean, it would have, it was its seed found no purchase. But it was the kind of a big light bulb moment for me. Like I never wasn't doing creator-owned work. It just sort of it exists in its own kind of financial reality for everybody involved or whatever. But like we were trying to figure out, me and the Marvel editor, who was going to draw like the last issue or two, and it was like, well, I said, "Well, just cancel it. Just like sometimes your favorite show doesn't get a finale. Like just stop it." He's like, "Well, we still have financial expectations of the book this quarter." I was like, "Oh, so the book isn't losing money. It's just not making you enough money." And they were like, "Yes." I'm like, "Oh, because if I had a creator-owned book that was moving with this book sold, I would need an accountant.
Amen, son.
Like it would be life changing. You know what I mean? Like it would be like legitimate life changing. But that I don't have 400 employees and 2
Right.
floors of a skyscraper, right? I
Sure.
don't have that. So like, but it was Defenders that kind of made that finally click for me in some
That's
regard.
interesting, Matt. So was that one of the impetuses to move away from Marvel and really focus more and more about creator?
No, it just made it clear that it's a different one's pie and one's cake. They're real similar, same shape, kind of desserty, lots of the same ingredients, really kind of fundamentally different, you know.
My favorite John Hickman,
cake, but
my favorite John Hickman quote: "Books look the same on the rack, but they're there for different reasons." And I get that, and absolutely, certainly, when you compare creator-owned to the big two, no, I understand that and everything. And again, Terry, you know, you've been playing with creator-owned for years now. You know,
yeah. No, I mean, I'm just someone that needs to be involved, very involved in the project and love the project I'm working on. And so I'm always traditionally I was always jumping around from project to project, just finding things that inspired me and that I wanted to do. And that's and knowing, I mean, I'm perfectly happy to work on Marvel and DC projects as well. But currently, most of the stories I find most appealing are the ones that Matt's writing or Pornsack, or I'm working on my own creator-owned idea right now. So it's like the idea of creating, which is as dumb as that sounds. But I guess in my free mind space when I'm not working, what pops in my head is new ideas, not an issue of Spider-Man or an issue. And that's just not what's going into my head anymore. It's like, what would happen if this happened instead? So that's where my mind likes to relax at, is that new space, finding new things.
I'm glad you mentioned that Pornsack book, Horizon Experiment, right? Isn't that the name of the Umbrella series? And you're in Pornsack's specific story. I was just talking to a friend about how I'm like, oh man, great story, because it's really like this spy story from a China standpoint, and I loved that. I thought that was great. What was your specific issue again called?
The Manchurian.
There we go, the Manchurian, indeed. Yes.
Right. Yeah, and that was fun, and that's the joy of doing this kind of stuff, is when something different than what I've done in my career before comes along. I'm very interested in trying it out, and because I find that taking on something that challenges me or really interests me makes me a better creator. You know, it makes me be the guy. I'm trying to be that artist that I always loved when I was a kid or whatever, and I'm always reaching up for that next level of competence or whatever, and being challenged and being excited about what I'm doing is the thing that kind of pushes me forward. So,
attaboy. That's great,
man. Matt, and like I say, Matt keeps giving me stuff that I just can't, I'm so excited to get to it. So that's like this book in particular has been, as long as I've approaching like the longest I've worked on anything. And I'm still excited about it. And we're still scratching the surface, and we're still not even like, I don't even think we're at the point where the story starts.
Yeah, we're almost there. We're so close.
That's hilarious. No, that's good, because
like that thing of like, okay, I'm working on a novel, but before the novel, I have to do the prequel pentology. And once those first 5 books are done, then I can get into it's like that level of. But it's got that feeling like when I was a kid, I would always spend Christmas vacation dumping all the Legos out, and I'm going to use all of them. I'm going to use all the Lego to make one thing. It's just like whatever. It's Christmas time to use. It feels like that, but it feels like you want to just keep showing up with more Lego, and like and then this, and then this, and then this. You know, like it's the perfect book for creative ADHD.
Right. That's excellent. First of all, another great creator who I hope to talk to sooner than later, Sanford Green, saying hello.
Right,
very nice.
What's up, Sanford?
Love that guy. He can break me in 2, but I still love that guy. That's all right.
He never would. He would.
No, he's a gentle giant. Absolutely. Absolutely. Zach wanted to know, Terry, if you could speak at this time, if we will get more of the Manchurian from you and Pornsack.
As of today, no, but that doesn't mean that has no basis of anything else. I haven't talked to Pornsack recently, so I haven't seen the numbers or whatever. I've been so preoccupied with drawing this book that I'm not pushed myself to look to see if we're doing more or not. So
Okay.
once I get done with this next issue, I'll start looking around and see what's going on. But nothing confirmed at this time. I know the collection comes out in April.
Of the Horizon Experiment. That's great.
Yeah,
all the
issues.
other stories, because it really is.
Yeah.
It's almost like a pilot for like
a
five
wheel,
different ideas.
it's like a wheel show, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Like-
like the mystery movie. Exactly, man. You know, yeah, you guys are Columbo and
The Manchurian is the Columbo of
Right.
the Horizon Experiments.
Vita Ayala working
mystery wheel.
on the Snoop Sisters. Perhaps there's a NBC mystery wheel thing. Did you guys notice Run for Your Life, the promo before?
I did. I did. Yeah.
I just found that, Matt. I was so excited to find that because truly, I am combing. You guys know I am combing YouTube constantly for bad variety specials, so I can get Ironside will not be seen tonight. You know, and it's like I love those things, man. I again, I remember the real ones, and then of course SNL and Letterman used to do like the Waltons eat their young will not be seen tonight.
Right.
Yeah. So too much.
And on ABC, it was Ernie Anderson. It was Paul Thomas Anderson's dad.
Yes.
Was the VO guy of ABC.
Yes. The love.
And I used to have a cassette tape of just him cussing. Of just him screwing up. Somebody had just cut together like a super edit of Ernie Anderson swears for 45 minutes. It just the what? But oh god, cocksucker peanuts, son of a bitch, motherfucker. But yeah, cocksucker peanuts was.
Also, he was from Cleveland along with Tim Conway, and was a big comedian before becoming the voice of ABC for decades.
And he was Goulardi. He was their Svengoolie.
Yes,
he was
indeed.
Cleveland Svengoolie.
I love that. I'm so excited to hear a tease, everybody. I believe I'm doing Svengoolie's panel once again in Chicago for C2E2, which has been the greatest honor of the last 10 years. Every time he's like, well, you're doing it again, right? And I'm like, don't you want somebody else? I'm like, I'll be happy to do it, man. He goes, no, you know me. You know my history.
Did you do the creature, the 3D glasses at 7-Eleven creature? Did you do that?
Yes.
Did it work for you? It didn't work.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
No, of course not.
But I tried.
That was when they were reintroducing 3D movies, both new and old. There was that bad spaghetti western Coming at You, and that was a 3D movie, and it was really bad. It was just horrible. But also, I remember when they re-released House of Wax,
right? And then Friday the 13th 3D, where
that's right.
Suddenly the kid's doing the yo-yo with the camera, and
it's Dr. Tongue from SCTV.
I just have bad memories of just the Thor movie. Was it the second Thor movie, the third Thor movie, where you kind of had to watch it in 3D?
Dark World, really?
I guess so. Yeah,
that would have been that time where everything was. Well,
it was like a year or two where everything was going 3D, and I was like, I just want to watch the movie.
Yeah, it's that 15. You get a 15% box office bump on the 3D. So.
Yeah.
James, I'm sorry, James the Media Mancer wants to know, are there some older series that you recommend that beginner writers should read that don't get mentioned a lot? Ooh, interesting.
Well, I mean, that don't get mentioned a lot. I can't speak to, but I think the best American comic of all. I mean, I think the Hernandez brothers in Love and Rockets is a towering accomplishment of art, period. And the old EC library stuff. Now they're Fantagraphics is now collecting by like artist, and so you don't have to, you can just get specific. All of that stuff is great.
Hey, Matt, those were my two recommendations. I was going to say the exact same two things. Love and Rockets and the EC books. It's like the EC popped right in my head because it's 8-page stories. You have 8 pages to tell a story. And there's so many examples of it. And then you think of something like Love and Rockets to really open the doors on the things you can do with a teen comic, or what do you want to call that book?
Yeah. That's the only comic that ever made me cry. It's
yeah,
interesting.
Good.
Let's see what else. Howard Chaykin's American Flag especially the first 12 are pretty landmark. And I think anything Jim Woodring does, if you just find a book called, is a character called Frank, and he did his kind of long form. They were sort of three separate books that he reworked into one big one called One Beautiful Spring Day, but they're all wordless. And like there's the stuff that Woodring does and can communicate without words. He's just such a pure cartoonist. Like my kids loved his stuff, and it was interesting. There was a moment where then they got old enough to be disturbed by it, but when they were little, like little, it was wordless. He's this kind of little cat mouse guy, and he walks around. And he has these adventures, and he's this kind of wide-eyed naif in the world. And as they got older, then they realized, oh, this is weird. Like a kid suddenly realized, oh, I'm supposed to be scared now. Ah! I know I've seen this movie 80 times, but like that was a real thing too. But yeah, so look at Jim Woodring stuff just to see the power of writing without words in comics.
I respect that. I also am with you guys on the EC stuff because it is that brevity of 8-page stories and what they pack into each panel and stuff. And I mean, these are the masters, Johnny Craig and Will Elder, and the Kurtzman and all these great guys. Yeah.
Actually, all the stuff Eisner did after the Spirit, all of his graphic novels are great. I mean, that's just such a master of like writing and comic arts all in one. I mean, if you want to write and draw your own stuff, I mean, there's really nothing more inspiring than that. To see what the range of stuff that he did is pretty cool, and you still can learn something on every page that he did.
Books. All right, yeah. As Matt is craning and looking around, Stanley wants to know: do you guys enjoy attending cons, or are they distracting, or both? I would say.
I schedule my cons so they're not distracting. How's that? I mean, when I schedule in, I do 3 or 4 shows a year, and that's basically it. So those are logged in. I know all year long that time is set aside. That's built into the schedule. So no, I love it. I mean, once I'm going to a con, and that's for sure, I'm doing it. I love going to cons. It took me, figuring out how to be at a con and what the advantage of being at a con was, and hanging with fans and friends and pros, and getting to meet people and see different cities and places and things. I think cons are great if you do them the right way.
And then Terry, are you still selling? Do you still have copies of your Art of Terry Dodson that you did the Kickstarter for?
Yeah, actually, I mean, I'm not really selling them. They're available through bookstores, online, everywhere. But John Fless Publications, the publisher, has the books. So
yes,
you definitely. I mean, if you want to support me, buy them from him, because that money we split it 50-50. So there it is. Yes.
Boom. There we go.
Yeah.
See, we got to get the gold foil on. We got to get some gold leaf on Adventureman.
On Adventureman, yeah.
That'll lose us some bucks. I like that.
That's right.
Waste more money. Absolutely, man. Mason Matt says that he loved your 1-page story in the recent issue of Ice Cream Man.
Thank you. Oh, that's a great. Who asked the question earlier about? I lost the name.
For the writing.
The writing. That's a great. Ice Cream Man is just astonishing and has been for almost 50 issues now, just reinventing itself and month after month, and playing with the form and the language of what comics can do, and short stories, long stories, and just it's I was honored to get it to get to be asked, because it's I've been reading it since the day it came out, and every issue I am left with the same reaction, like, how the hell did they do that? And now they blow it all up and like start all over again. Well, there's an issue that's a palindrome. I did something like that in Casanova, not to the extent that they did in Ice Cream Man. And I'm trying to imagine, like, all right, now I've figured this out. I've written a palindromic story. Now I got to come up with another idea for next month. It's such a, I think that the British invasion of American comics in the late 80s, early 90s is entirely down to the existence of 2000 AD, and that British writers learned to get busy really quick in 2 and 8 page stories. Like that's how those dudes cut their teeth. And it's such a ferociously unforgiving, like 8 pages is so much harder than 20 pages. And like that's any chance you have to look at like short stories, especially if they're done well in comics, check those out. But Ice Cream Man is I was thrilled to be asked to be a part of it. I didn't think I was cool enough, so and then it meant a lot to me.
Terry, would you say, and I don't know how many short things like an 8-pager or a 6-pager you've done in your past, but would you agree in terms of from a drawing standpoint and a storytelling standpoint how tough it is to do that?
I would actually, I mean, generally it takes me an issue or so to figure out how to draw what I'm drawing. So that would fall along with that theory. But I think most of the shorter things I've drawn, they're things that I was already familiar with, I guess. So then they're just fun because then since the story is already done for you, you can really just focus on the art. It's not, having to pace yourself or whatever. It's 8 pages or 10 pages. And I've done more of those in the last couple of years than I've done like my whole career. I don't remember doing short stories before, but I know I've done one for a Harley one, a Wonder Woman one, Batman, all DC related ones that, because I never would do that. I'd always do longer things. I never would just take the time for something small. But with Adventureman, it's kind of like it's an easy yes for me to say, oh, I know I can do 8 pages in between this and that. I actually enjoy those things.
We're putting together Superman's pal Jim Nielsen hardcover. I think it's coming out in June when apparently there's a Superman movie. James Gunn has made a Superman movie to help us promote the Superman pal Jim Nielsen hardcover, which is really sweet. I mean, new boss, right? He's taken over the company. And he really cares. He cares so much. He's made a $200 million movie to help our little book. But there's we're really packing it with extras, including a kind of tour through the classic Silver Age Jim Nielsen stuff. And like I just got done doing it last week, and it's got just a ton of reference and pulls. But like it would be fun, Terry, to do like an Adventureman 80-page giant. They would all happen in like stuff like places we've gone and touched on before, but set like little 8-page stories, and kind of do little fun shorts or something like that sometime. Because we have so much time.
I think just saying all that made me think of ABC Comics that line. I'm pretty sure they do like a collection would be like 8-page stories, and it'd be the same thing. It'd be like you didn't get to see this character much, but here it is in 8
tomorrow stories. Yeah,
yes, exactly.
And that had the one him and Rick Veitch did. It was 3 stories of a tenement building 20 years apart. Oh God, that was
that, and of course, and then
Alan Moore got us 2000 AD. That's where
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking of. Is like
Future Shock. There's a collection of Future Shock that is really dynamite.
Yeah, anytime they would put out those collections of Future Shocks, they're so great to read because they are so ridiculously brief and contain so much story in them and are really, really interesting ideas. No, I love that stuff. Yeah,
I bought a ton of those, a ton of the like 2000 AD collections when I first went to Thought Bubble, and our hosts were like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I've never heard of this before." Like, what? It's what? This is about an angry bear? You guys had a comic about an angry bear? They did.
I'm really fortunate, and then Mac grew up here in Chicago too, that we've always had these great direct market stores that beyond DC and Marvel would really, get the imported stuff and everything. And it was really this great education of a wider world of comics and stuff. Terry, were you close enough in any big cities where beyond DC and Marvel, you got a good taste of international comics?
Oh yeah. I mean, honestly, that the biggest imprint on me as an artist would be the fact that I was exposed to everything else in comics. I was exposed. I mean, I actually talked to Steve Lieber about this a week or two ago. We were having this discussion, and what I saw at a young age was Dark Horse Comics, made in Oregon, not far from me.
Very true.
They're making creator-owned short stories, black and white to start off with, and I saw these stories being made. I mean, I was already reading Marvel and DC stuff at the time.
Sure.
But I came in reading comics because I started buying Star Wars comics. Because I really love Star Wars, and that got me into a bunch of other like G.I. Joe comics, all these things that weren't necessarily superhero books. But then I would buy the superhero stuff. But then it wasn't that much longer that the Dark Horse stuff came out, and from Dark Horse came the Dark Horse Presents, which was all this create our own stuff, Concrete, etc.
Yes.
And Hellboy came out of that. But what they also did, they actually had a book of just European reprints in black and white, and it's Cheval Noir, and
the French, yeah,
and this was at the age when also that got me buying heavy metal and epic comics, and so and then the fact that the comic book shops, and this is the other thing that I think is pretty important, is when I was younger, when I was buying comics as a youngster, there were only 10, 20 Marvel or DC comics a month, right? So there was all this shelf space for independent comics, and so there was First Comics and ElfQuest and Fantagraphics, and there were just the stuff that I was buying was like 30% Marvel DC, then 70% everything else. I mean, there was just that much stuff to choose from. I mean, it's a lot less to choose from than there is now, but imagine it being that percentage of Marvel DC stuff. So it was
and they were 75 cents. It was not a $5 allowance. You could read like a king.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely, 100%. Rudy has a question for you, Matt. He's been a fan of yours for over the years, especially 5 Fists of Science. Any chance of revisiting those characters, or perhaps releasing a 20th anniversary edition for next year? God damn, Matt, that's how long we've been talking to each other.
No, because it's only 3 years old, so we'd have to wait another 17 years to do it.
Matt, that's around the first time we talked was 5 Fists of Science, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like a Tesla is such a loaded term these days.
That's a good point.
I don't know. Maybe that's the reason to do it. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Revisiting
Is there another story to tell? Well, even back then, did you think you would maybe tell more stories with that group?
I didn't, just because it was so based on the kind of actual event. I think you probably could, sure. But I don't know. Never say never. Nothing in the hopper. Thank you for reading it, remembering it.
Sure.
I love doing it, and love Stephen Sanders' work, and I learned so much doing that book with him. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's always fun to write Mark Twain. If you ever have a chance to write Mark Twain, write Mark Twain.
I bet. No, that's excellent, man. Justin says you guys had killer jokes in Superman's Pal, and it gives me another reason to talk to Lieber sooner than later, because I wanted to talk to him about what he's doing on Metamorpho right now.
Yeah, it's super, super, super good. His Metamorpho book is really great. Al Ewing's writing it. And there's a brand new cover Steve is doing for the new Superman's Pal, Jimmy Olsen, and it's an homage to the greatest Superman cover of all time. And that's as much as I'll say, because I'm sure. But yeah, so it's a brand new cover, and I can't wait for people to see it.
Exciting!
I saw it this morning. It's stunning. It's really good.
That's
really
excellent.
Good. It's really
good.
Are all the men and women still at Helioscope? Isn't that where that last time I was in Portland, that's where I hung out with Lieber and
we are in a brand new space. We moved in September to a superior space that we're all much happier with. It feels like a proper studio now.
Cool.
So we're all we actually had our first party there in December, holiday party. It was crazy busy. It was an amazing time. I love it. I was just in there last week, and it's terrific. It's same membership. Everybody's still there. But yeah, no, it's going strong. Steve's done an amazing job keeping those doors open, especially now when there's so many young artists in the Portland area who kind of like need a space to go, and Steve's there and provides it for them. And we have the desks, we have the Cintiqs. I mean, we can bring in like 20 people at a time at a day can work there. So,
wow.
Yeah, so we could really give Will Eisner a run for his money if we wanted to. We can
real quality days, That's great. That's fantastic, man. Matt, somebody asked earlier, and I don't have it to put up on the screen, but they wondered about balancing your working for TV to writing comics. What do you do?
Oh, I didn't write comics.
That's what I
Adventureman was
assumed.
the
Go
only
ahead.
Adventureman was the only thing I had going and could do it. It was in a lull in our publication cycle. Like once Monarch went, like I had a bunch of stuff lined up that I cut loose, that I backed out of, a bunch of collaborators that I cut loose, and a couple of gigs that I tried. But yeah, no, I didn't even try. Like I remember, Bendis telling me during Powers that he would be like in Video Village writing Guardians of the Galaxy scripts, and I was like, oh, I can't do that. And like in my experience, like show running was like it's like a flood. Like that water will take up every inch of your life that it can get to. Every inch you'll give it, it'll take. And I didn't want to leave people hanging, because like if I don't write, people don't eat, right? So yeah, no, I would not even want to try it. I wanted to learn how to do that, and to be able to give myself to it the 20 hours a day it requires, and it did. And for 6 months, that was my life, and then came back, and then like immediately just like, right now it's time to do it now I don't get to write and not get notes and
Sure.
stuff,
Yeah. Is any updates on a possible season 2 for Monarch?
Oh yeah, in fact they wrapped yesterday.
Oh, they wrapped filming today. Wonderful. Yeah. Wow, excited.
Yeah. And I can tell you because all the cast were taking pictures of themselves flying home, so I feel safe saying that.
That's great. And forgive me, Matt, you're co-creator on Monarch.
Yeah. Co-creator, and I'm stepped away from it this season. So I was.
So you
I didn't. Yeah, because
it's such a commitment, obviously.
Yeah. And this year we shot in Vancouver and Japan mostly, a little bit of Hawaii season 1, and that's one kind of flight. This year they shot in Thailand and Australia.
Wow.
And that's wow. My son's going to go to college in a year, and I don't know, I don't want to be gone for 6 months of the last, you know what I mean, like a quarter of his last 2 years. So
I get it.
And it was good, and it was done, and I love everybody, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be terrific. And I it was in the writer's room until like May. And then once it was like getting down to production time, it was like, yeah, I'm not. And like, it's just, like I said, it's floodwater, and it didn't feel fair to expect other people, like if I wasn't going to carry my weight, and it didn't feel like a good fit anymore. And I missed comics. It was nice. And I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave my kids during summer vacation again and all that kind of stuff.
I respect that.
Adventureman benefit. Matt wrote all 3 issues by July of this year.
It was so great to just be back in the world of me and Terry. Terry is my audience. If Terry's happy, that's what Matt, like, that's like, and it was just, it was, so all of it just burst out. I had such a crazy productive summer because I wasn't writing TV anymore.
So for the second season, will there be scripts that you wrote?
No. I don't. We haven't. And I didn't write any scripts, but I don't know what. I don't know if the writers. I don't know what the final. I don't know what it's going to be. If what my credit's going to be, or how it's going to work out. But we were to the point where like we were assigning scripts and making a plan, and it was like, yeah, you know what, guys, I gotta stand back and
sure. No, that's great. Now, hey, man, again, I think I told you, Matt, it was such a relief because I got to be honest, I haven't been the biggest fan of the Legendary product just because, I'm an old Toho fan and stuff.
Sure.
And,
sure.
But man, the depth you guys gave those characters and that story.
Between 10 hours and 100 minutes. You know what I mean? We had 10, like I was always, our pitch was like, they knock the buildings down. We tell stories about people getting up, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And
no, absolutely.
Yeah. And like you always hate it for like the poor guy, like some guy whose job, he's like a military dude, and he's got like an earpiece and a look, and there's like a computer monitor, and he was like, "Oh my God, there!" And he lowers his head, and then they clearly ADR whatever the plot is. They've entered Hollow Earth through the da 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 da. Oh, there's a lot of whisper acting. Oh my God. Like, man, just knock the building over. Just had to make the monkey fight the dinosaur. That's all I care about. But we got a different chance. We got to do another thing. But yeah, no, everybody was like I said, I was checking out the two of the leads were sitting across from each other on the same flight home to LA, taking pictures the whole way of the two of them in their little seats and stuff. It was very cute. So yeah.
Very cool. Mason wants to know, Terry, is there more Red One in the future, or just the 2 volumes?
Yeah, actually, I met with the Xavier in Paris in May. I'd actually come up with the idea for the 3rd volume to wrap it up, because I personally would like just to get it wrapped up so we can collect it and put it back out back in the market. And actually, I'd like to finish the story, because the 3rd volume is like the punchline. It's the good stuff, and so it's just time. I've got a rough draft of the 3rd volume written, and yeah, I'm actually really excited about it. My brain's in Adventureland right now, but
Sure.
Probably, I can't say for sure, but the fact that the plot's written is a really good sign. And Xavier and I have gone over everything, and it's a matter of me kind of writing up one more round of stuff on it. I mean, just because I'm the one that kind of figured out what we really kind of needed to wrap it up with, or whatever. Kind of, and I don't know. I think I've actually been shocked how many people keep asking me about that project, even though it's been almost 9 years since it came out.
Wow.
And
yeah,
it's weird. It doesn't seem like
3 would feel good,
long,
right? Like three would feel good.
Exactly. And I have a title for the collection. It's the Big Red One. You know. So I mean, come on! It sells itself.
Right there.
Yeah. The cover is ready to roll. I need to finish it just so I can publish that nice big collection. No, it's great. It's actually I'm. Oh, sorry.
No. Continue. Finish your thought. I'm sorry, Terry. Please.
Oh, I just think basically the first 2 volumes were set up. It's like we have the story that we really want to hit the punchline on, and this 3rd volume is the punchline. It's all the stuff that we really wanted to do, and I can't wait to do it. I really hope it. I'd probably be later this year that I'll finish it up. But yeah, I can't say for sure, just because with Adventureman, it's always tough to tell how long it's going to take me to do, because that's the one thing with this book, is it always takes longer than I think it's going to, which is okay. But it's hard to plot my future exactly. But yeah, optimistically, we're in agreement on it, and the publishers are all happy to want to do it too, and it has a collection that just needs to be published with that great title. So.
For Family Tree that's coming up for Adventureman, are these shorter stories?
Yeah, they're done in one kind of mini adventures.
Okay.
That's sort of about Claire's sisters, and each one kind of has its own focal character and its own kind of mini genre that we play with a little bit. You get some Mexican wrestling, some luchador kind of fights. You get some
cool
dogfight daring do, and some underwater adventures. So we get some
South Seas action.
Yeah, it's a very Johnny Quest opening credits arc. These issues is very Johnny Quest opening credits. You get frogmen, you get airplanes.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun drawing all the parts of it. I mean, all the covers are done for it, so I've already been able to play with it all so far. So it's like, yes, this is exactly. I think this arc feels like what we were talking about when this. What can we do with this book? This arc is what we could do with this book. So I'm really excited for people to read it. And the great thing is that there's all these things that don't just seem like we're having fun, but when you come to the last page of the 3rd issue, it kicks off just like the last page of Ghost Lights kicked off to this. The last page of this kicks off to really puts us where we're supposed to be.
Yeah,
so very exciting.
Very cool, man. Kari
Yeah.
wants to know, Fraction, in researching Tesla and Mark Twain, I plan to write them together. Outside of their letters, were there more resources you can suggest for her to look at outside of biographies
Oh
for
boy.
Tesla and Twain?
It's I don't remember if I put a bibliography in Five Fists or not. I can't remember. Probably, yeah, but it's been 20 years and I got 2 kids and 5 dogs. God, it's gonna drive me. Yes. There were a lot of books that I did a lot of research for such a goofy throwaway thing. There was a lot of research in it. But a lot of stuff about just the age of invention and that whole and the sort of the robber baron era of New York, and Hubert, like the guy that did like Gangs of New York was, you know what I mean? Like even the time's a little off, but but yeah, no, there was a zillion, even like the like Ulysses S. Grant's autobiography, and like the Twain like compelled him to write. But like just to get that,
wow.
Yeah, they were friends, and Grant was a recovering alcoholic that was broke, and Twain was like, write your story, and like made him write his book.
Yes, I did know that. Yeah, writing his autobiography really helped him out financially at the end of his life and everything. Yeah, that's pretty cool,
to get
man.
like the kind of the cadence and of the way people talked then, and yeah, no, it was a bunch of there was one Tesla biography in particular, and Twain's autobiography is just a great read. But a couple of Twain biographies, a Tesla biography, the one I remember that a woman wrote it, which at the time was the thing that distinguished it from all of the other Tesla biographies, and more. But it's 20 years, and I'm sorry. Good luck.
By the same token, Terry, let's reach back even longer than 20 years ago. Rudy wants to know, I thought the series Trouble with Mark Miller was underrated and possibly ahead of its time, considering the popularity of multiverse Spider-Man related stories. What are your memories of working on Trouble?
My memory of working on Trouble. My memory is Joe Quesada asking me as a personal favor to draw that book. That's what I remember. That's my highlight. No, I remember that, and I remember the gist of it, of the proposal of it, is being a romance comic and being a fan of comics, of so many comics in general. There were so many gorgeous looking romance comics in the 50s and the 60s.
Sure.
I was like, and so my brain said, yeah, Joe wants me to do this. But as an artist, I can go. I can be Frazetta or whatever, and so that pushed me through the first 2 issues. And those first 2 issues were gorgeous. And story-wise, by the 3rd issue, I was losing. I didn't feel like this. Not that it's not well written. Mark did a great job, but it wasn't what I thought the book was going to be, I should say. And so I kind of coasted through the 3rd and the 4th and the 5th issue. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, I had a good time attempting to do that level of romantic comic or whatever, but the romance level of it wasn't what I expected it to be. I guess would be the best way to put it. I mean, I haven't read that story now in close to 20 years.
Yeah.
You know what? I sign a Trouble or 2 at every show I'm at. There are Trouble fans. I mean, it got a lot of stick or whatever at the time, but Mark's a good writer. I know how to tell a story. I think the goofy photo covers kind of threw people off onto what that book actually was. But again, it was a marketing ploy. It was fun. I had no regrets about not doing those covers. I thought I was very amused by them. I love to hear people talk about it, because there are actually some very big Trouble fans. There may be only 5 of them, but they really love that book, which is great. I'm glad that someone takes pleasure from it and is still curious about it. It's terrific.
That's when I really came back to reading comics, and I really appreciated the inventiveness that Jemis and Quesada were bringing to a lot of these things. Andy Watson doing that Namor. There was Teenage Love Story about Namor and stuff, and just really interesting ideas. So, and yeah, I think Trouble was, another one of those like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, fine, why
Yeah,
not?
Mike Allred on X Force. I mean, there was
Yes,
all sorts
of
of
course.
There was just crazy stuff happening. That was a very energetic time for Marvel, 2000 to 2005, somewhere in there. Just every month there was something crazy coming out. So,
Could
which
not
is what
agree more.
the House of Ideas. That's what we're supposed to be
Amen.
doing.
Amen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Pushy. And
Yeah.
truly, guys, I think you're doing it again with Adventureman. I love the accoutrements, the Art Deco aesthetic that beyond the actual visuals of the story, but even, and I've told you this before, Terry, too, just, the wallpaper for the credits that you give and
Right.
stuff. And I feel like I'm in one of these great Art Deco buildings that thank God Chicago still has here. I think. So,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I love it.
It's something like it was Carrie that asked this question about what research Matt was using, but you know what? What I tell every artist, anybody that wants to be an artist or whatever creator, is like, do your research, study the real world, because that stuff influences me way more than I think everybody thinks. Maybe I'm looking at cartoons or whatever. I mean, I'm influenced by all artists, but it's like it's the research I do in the real world of real things that influences me and tells me, informs me so much of my decisions on what I'm going to do. And I'm drawing this sequence in Adventureman now with these kind of souped up versions of old planes, and it's my knowledge of actual planes and my love of design of certain things that informs that design that is not what anybody else is doing, because I'm not pulling from something else. It's all those influences combined that make me go, oh, you know what, I did this and this would really be cool looking. And the fact that being inspired to try those things out and have that opportunity to try those things out, and then that just informs the next thing. So Deco is a huge influence, and that just goes back to New York and such a golden, beautiful aesthetic they had for designing that stuff. And same in Chicago. I mean, what an amazing city, amazing buildings, amazing architecture in that city. So
I hear you. Mason wants to know, guys, and he's actually asking both of you, but Fraction to start with the Jimmy Olsen hardcover coming out later this year. Are there any more possible projects at DC? And then he also wants to know from you, Terry, if you have more DC covers coming.
Yeah, this is happening live, right? So this
Yes,
is this is on Tuesday, and if this was happening on Thursday, I could have a more specific answer.
Oh my!
But boy, Mason. Ask me again on Thursday.
Okay, looking forward to an announcement on Thursday, everybody, for Fraction. There you go. Very good. And Tara, how about you?
Yeah, I don't know. I know what Matt's announcement is, and I can't wait to hear it myself because it's a good one.
Cool.
So, for me, I'm the regular cover artist on Fire and Ice, and so the second series of that launches in April, I think. And so I did last year's series. I'm doing that series now. I did, and I'm on the cover artist on the second series of Gotham City Sirens, and that first series came out last year, and the second series launches, I think. They haven't showed any of the covers yet. Maybe they haven't even announced it yet. Later this year. So I'm doing those two series of covers, and then I am going to be doing a short story, of course, because we're covering that. And we see how that fits so well in my Adventureman schedule, and that will be for DC later this year. So good question, Mason.
All right, more announcements coming, everybody. Keep your eyes peeled for new Fraction, potentially DC stuff, and more new covers from Terry. So that's cool to hear. Rudy wants to know, Fraction. He knows you're a Cub fan. Are you excited about the upcoming season?
All right, let me tell you, Cubby fans.
My Harry Carey is turning into Jennifer Saunders.
Wow!
Jennifer Coolidge.
Jennifer Coolidge. That's it. Right.
The moon was made out
Gosh.
of ribs. The moon was made out of ribs. Would you eat it? I think I would.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. This year, next year is going to be next year, so it's pretty great. Looking up. Did I see that we get Justin Turner for a year?
I believe I read that as well.
Right. Great.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Whatever.
Oh, love it.
Matt, do you have access to Marquee, the Chicago-based channel that has all these great documentaries about Cub history?
I don't. I mean, no, I guess not. No.
Okay, that's too bad because it's. I got to say they really did a great job, and I mean, Duh. I mean, my God, this franchise is like 150 years old. I used to love Brickhouse. Jack Brickhouse, the old announcer for the Cubs, the old play-by-play man, made the point that the Cubs' very first game was played 30 days after Custer's last stand. That's how old the franchise is. And they were called the Pale Hose. They had different names, but it was essentially from team to team. That's the timeline for
what a month. What a month for America.
Well,
Terry is a Cubs fan as well.
Are you really, Dodson? I didn't know that. Are you?
Sure.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. All right.
Sure.
I thought you were a Cubs fan. Did I make that up?
No. There's like six teams I'm peripherally interested in. The Cubs are one. Yes.
What are your other teams?
We will take your benign interest.
Okay,
Exactly.
no, I'll give you my benign interest teams here. Boston Red Sox, because that's the first game. First team is the Dodgers. I saw those guys. I saw them when I was 8 years old in person.
Sure.
And I saw the Red Sox. So the Red Sox and the Dodgers. I like the Cubs because I like the hats. The Mariners. My mom watches that religiously. So somehow, I mean, I don't, but I'm glad she does. And so that I have to watch the. Keep an interest in that in the Mariners. That's 4 teams. I guess not that I'm a huge fan of the Mets, but I guess the Mets would be number 5.
Sure.
The Mets, they feel like they fit right
if you're
in
into
there.
the Cubs and the Red Sox, you're going to be into the Mets.
That's
Exactly.
True. A lot of losing going on. Exactly, man. It's a lot of hope.
Yeah, that's right. The Mets do fit into that schedule. So yeah. Actually, I'm a big college sports fan.
Oh, tell me.
Oregon State Beavers, the college team here, is the number 6 team in the country. So I've actually seen them play more than I've seen all the other teams combined. And it's nice that they're always challenging. A fairly local team is perennially fairly good. They've won 3 College World Series in this century. So I keep tabs. I don't have the spare time to watch baseball. I mean, I like going to live games, but that's 3 hours of my life. It's hard to give up for that game at home.
I did realize with pitchers and catchers reporting this week that's
right.
Oh, it's almost time. And I think actually tomorrow or Thursday they play the Dodgers. Is that happening?
Well, I'm sure it's a spring training game or whatever.
Yeah, but are they kicking off the season in Japan this year?
I forget. That's so funny.
I know I don't think it's Thursday, but I know like their first game is like Thursday because I write them down in my book. But yeah, no, I realize like I gotta turn my antenna back on and start reading up and see what's going on this year.
My old friend, who's sadly no longer with us, Les Grobstein, got to cover that first Cub Japan game because he had accrued so much airline mileage. He told the bosses, he's like, you want me to cover the Japan game? And they're like, we can't afford to fly you there. He's like, I can do it. That's fine. Go to Japan. That's fine. So yeah, he got to cover it there and stuff. Yeah, Les was a sweet guy. He was I got to. Terry might not know. Matt knows. I spent a long time in sports radio, and So and I've kind of become jaded over the years. So yes, okay, Rudy confirming that yes, indeed, the Cubs will be playing in Japan in March. Very good. Wow,
man.
Fuck it, I'm going.
Mason wants to know any newcomer creators that you guys really enjoy. He throws out Zoe Thorogood, not really a newcomer per se, but he's been enjoying their work. And you guys, anyone else comes to mind for a newcomer?
I mean, Dennis Camp isn't really a newcomer, but like is sort of a rising profile. Dennis has 2 really great books about to come out. One called Assorted Crisis Events, and then the Absolute Martian Manhunter, which is going to be the book that wins all the Eisners this year. So get ready for that. And there's a page in Absolute Martian Manhunter, and I wrote to Dennis, and I was like, "Fuck you." Make that your pull quote. Fuck you. I can't wait for the world to see it. It's really genuinely it's great. Yeah. So I don't know. Like, is that Dennis? I guess. But like, I like subscribe to like Silver Snail Comics, and they put out art book. I get a box from them like every month full of amazing stuff from new creators. Like it's, you know, I order. There's a Italian publisher that kind of does these boutique-y kind of they're called Mansion Press, but like they do. Well, I'll show you. Like,
No problem. Funny.
like I got like the new Josh Simmons book from them that showed up this week, and Hans Rickheit, and yeah, I it's my office is a mess.
No worries.
Anyway, but yeah, no. So Josh, it's not right calling Josh Simmons a newcomer, but like I got really excited. I got the new Josh Simmons book, and Al Columbia has a new book out. Like I always excited for Al Columbia, also not a new creator, but like I don't know. I tend to not go to stores like I used to. It sort of tends to be like once or twice a year, and I go and I spend too much money on just like, oh, what is all this? Like all the stuff I read is very like my favorite stuff tends to not be anything like the stuff that I write. So
I don't know, Dodson. Any thoughts on newcomers?
Honestly, with something like with Instagram, I'm able to keep up on so many newer creators. I mean, I've been on Instagram for close to a decade now, so even those people who I initially liked are now veterans. But I mean, that's just a great place for me to go daily to be inspired and see new stuff from creators who work in comics, with animation, design, concept art, pure painters, all this stuff that I like. I mean, my interests are so varied. That's like one place where I can go for 10 minutes every morning before I start working and just kind of scroll through and just see so much amazing stuff that just kind of lights my fire the rest of the day. I'm good.
Outstanding.
And people from all ages, all around the world, all sexes. Yeah. There's just no limit, and so it's nice to see. I'm stunned to see how many young, amazing creators there are. It's like the I don't know where they are coming from. I don't know where they're learning these things. I guess it's the internet. I mean, I don't know how their exposure to this level of quality and this level of learning is happening. I mean, I know how I had to learn, how long it took me, and I look at the ages and I'm just flabbergasted that they are finding this information out there to be so good, so young, so early, which is terrific. I love it. I love seeing the new influences. And I mean, honestly, I feel like I'm more inspired, and I think this has been true for well over a decade by younger creators than myself. I'm always finding someone new that's pushing me, inspiring me, and it's great. I love finding new art, and the fact that it's just there's always something new being done and developed is so amazing. So that's so cool. It's very, very affirming. It makes me a point to get out of bed in the morning to do new stuff. So.
Matt, I thank you for introducing me to Elsa Chartier's wonderful work on your November series.
She's great.
And I don't know if you guys will have the opportunity to work together again anytime soon.
I would as soon as she'll have me. I would love to. At the drop of a hat, like I'd Kool-Aid Man through a wall to do it.
Oh yeah.
And she's just gotten better. Like everything she does is the best thing she's ever done. And then she does something new, and it's like watching somebody like Hulk. She's like an art Hulk. She's like hulking out in real time.
And her tutorials on how she does her art are fantastic. And I'm like, Elsa, my God, man, not only you're a great artist, but you're making these videos that are so professional looking as well. Just crazy, man. No, that's great. And I know she's been working with Tynan.
Yeah. Ground the city beneath her feet or whatever. It's great. It's the best thing she's ever done since the last thing she did.
Yes. Mason is asking me a question, and again, I'm embarrassed, but I will embarrass myself. Well, first of all, Justin says, and I agree, November is criminally underrated. Well, you got to find your audience, and thank God it's there. 4 volumes, Matt?
4, yeah. And listen, there's never a better time to launch an experimental format, high-end graphic novella series focusing on women of color, some of whom are disabled, than in the middle of a global pandemic. Everyone knows it. It's the best time to do it. Thank you, Justin. Thanks.
Great story. No, Mason wanted to know any updates on my word balloon book. There's got to be a Fraction Dodson section in there. Well, not collaborative per se, but certainly my conversations with Matt and Terry will figure into the book. I really want to focus on the last 20 or 25 years, because obviously Word Balloon is the last 20 years. But I really do think that since the 21st century began, we've got a wave of creators that when you read these books and there are profiles of creators, it's all the, Golden, Silver Age, and Bronze Age guys who I love. And I know I certainly have enough interviews with and stuff. But, it's like, no, something, certainly guys like Terry and Matt, also newer people like Kelly Thompson and Ram V are great examples of these wonderful creators that it's like, hey, more people should be aware of their contributions in the last few years. So they will be reflected in the book as well.
John, who do you wish, who's your white whale? Who's the one that you wish you have interviewed and haven't been able to?
Of living people or dead?
Yeah.
Geez, living people. I still haven't talked to Al Ewing, and I would love to.
And Al has a deeply sonorous voice.
Then
it's very easy to listen to Al.
It will hypnotize me as I speak to him. But I'm a longtime fan of his work.
Resonant. Yeah.
So yeah, he's a good one to mention. Because really, sadly, it's a lot of the ones that I missed. Like, man, I had some great after-hour convention conversations with Joe Kubert, and we talked about doing something in principle. It didn't happen. Never got close enough to Stan to get Stan on the show, and that would have been nice. But and finally, after years of begging him, I got to moderate Steranko at a con. So I'm like, all right, that's fine. I'm never going to bother him again. At least I got my one conversation with Jim. But really, no, I was really lucky, man. Many conversations with Denny O'Neill, my good friend Marty Pasco. So people like that I really, again, I think really starting when I did, and podcasting was still a novelty. Because now it's so funny when someone says, "Hey, I'm doing a podcast," and everybody rolls their eyes like, "Yes, so is everybody else." Yeah, and I realize that. I get that. But thankfully, I've been doing it for 20 years, so it's like, all right, I always put myself in the astronaut perspective, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a Mercury astronaut. All right, I broke the sound barrier. I'm Chuck Yeager. I don't know how to break it. So, so no, it's no. But anyway, no, it's keeping me honest, guys, and it is. It's the 20th anniversary, so. I really gotta get going. Oh, and Rudy wants to know what I do a follow-up boxing book. Yeah, again, covering boxing as I did for 20 years. I certainly have my share of stories and encounters with the greats that I had the pleasure of meeting, from Ali and Foreman to Chavez and Sugar Ray Leonard and people like that. So yeah, I'm very lucky in those respects. I just got to get off my ass. It's this is my format, guys. Terry, it's drawing. Matt, it's writing. For me, it's broadcasting or podcasting. This is the thing that it's most comfortable for me, to presenting my stuff in this format and stuff. So to shift gears and write stuff down, it's a discipline. The only time I really had it was when I was covering boxing in print, because I had no broadcast outlet. So that was my only media outlet. And I'm, hammering away on my little portable typewriter, covering the boxing events that I did and stuff like that. So. But yeah, I gotta get back on the discipline. So I thank people for asking about it. Thank you. So, all right, but enough about me. Back to you, boys. No, I'm psyched, guys. Seriously, the series has been great, and we're coming up in March for the next arc of Adventureman. It'll be Family Tree, and you're really going to get to know more about the Sister Squadron, and of course their original adventure team as well. That their characters now inhibit the spirits of these original heroes. It's a great idea for a story, very inventive in both story and art, and I'm always happy to talk to you guys about it. And thank you for coming back and sharing with me what you guys are doing. As always, we look forward to what's next for you guys, and the announcements that are coming up sooner than later on new projects.
Yeah, and John, I just sent you the Jimmy Olsen cover, little special.
Oh, thanks, brother.
Check it out.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm going to bug you once we're off the air.
You understand why Terry and I were grinning like goofs.
Well, and also I expect to hear, even though don't worry, we'll keep it silent until Thursday, but I hope you'll let me in on the secret of whatever the announcement is come Thursday off the air.
Sure.
Beautiful. All right. Everybody, thanks a lot for watching. Tomorrow during the day, I'm recording a great interview about the history of Edgar Rice Burroughs, because apparently this year is the 150th anniversary of his birth. One of the masters of genre fiction. I mean, my God, where would we be without John Carter and Tarzan and his various creations over the years? I'm really looking forward to that. Thursday, now I got to, and again, my brain sometimes I forget who I'm talking to and stuff, but I know I got a Word Balloon Live coming up on Thursday. Kevin Shinnick will be joining me. Kevin Shinnick, fantastic animation writer and comic book writer, has a new creator-owned book and a Kickstarter that he's got getting started and everything. Real fast, Mason wants to know, Terry, will you be at San Diego this year? And any cons for Matt?
Terry, you want to go first?
Oh, your mic might be off, Terry.
Oh,
There you go. When you said, we could hear you. Oh, nope, silent again.
We can hear you.
Yeah, we need flashcards.
okay. Yeah, I'll be at San Diego.
Great to hear. Matt, any conventions?
Not on the books as of yet, but I would love to. I'm hoping to get back to Heroes. The pullout of during production was supposed to go, and I kind of just haven't been back to shows. So I don't know what, but yeah, keep your ears peeled. I'm sure I'll be somewhere.
Sounds great. Well, everybody, thanks a lot for watching and listening, and more great Word Balloon this week. Until next time, everybody stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy.